Joining in is Mayur Milak, Senior Vice President Auto and Aviation at Asian Markets Securities. We've also got Mark Martin, MRAeS founder and CEO at Martin Consulting, who tracks the sector closely. Thank you all so much. Thank you both so much for taking time out and joining in. I just wanted to get in a sense from you as to what the overall landscape is when you're looking at Indian aviation, Mr. Martin. Given that we have seen the pricing wars that have begun, there has been a lot more travel, when it comes to aviation turbine fuel pricing. What's the outlook in terms of passenger growth and where you see the industry headed?
Good to be here. Thanks for having me. I think we have to understand one thing that currently we are dealing with certain economic scenarios which are making our P&L look a little better, especially with lower fuel prices. But on the other side, that's really not. It's not really true because the currency is depreciating a lot. The rupee is now going over to 85, 86, and that's going to have a deeper impact because everything that is in aviation is imported. From a broader perspective, we do need a strong low-cost carrier base in India because with the way dynamics are shifting today, it's either a Air India or an Indigo, and there really isn't a strong third player after the demise of Go Air. So fundamentally, from a broader perspective, do we need a strong SpiceJet? Yes. Is it a SpiceJet or an Akasa? Let the consumer decide, let the traveler decide, because the Indian traveler is all about prices, and he is pretty discerning when it comes to choosing his airfare. So it's not just a SpiceJet that's swimming here; it's also an Akasa, which is a monster in the basement. So this was clearly it was a make or break situation for SpiceJet, and they've made it.
But why is that the low cost model in India has not been very successful? Whether it is
Hi,
Deccan,
Nikunj.
hi,
Yeah.
Ma-
So hi Nikunj. So we have to be very clear. It is successful. India has grown on the low cost model. It's SpiceJet, which is not really been a stable airline. Let's be clear. Let's put the facts on the table. SpiceJet is the only airline that's been in and out of bankruptcy nearly 9 times. Wilbur Ross to Marantz to 1,000 crore infusion to 100 crore infusion. Their fleet has fluctuated from 56 to 100 to 5. And 2019 is not any great success because what they did was they just took over Jet Airways' fleet. So let's not go to details of how that really came on board. But the broader point is one of the bigger issues with SpiceJet. I think the bigger concern today is that the promoter has offloaded his stake, which means that very well, we all know very well in India, unless a promoter puts his own skin in the game in any business, there's a personal interest to make that business successful. Now, with Ajay Singh offloading his stake to some minority level and coming down to a minority from a broader perspective, is SpiceJet going to be an Ajay Singh driven company or is it going to be an investor driven company? And the bigger worry today is that it's not about the 100 coming back to 100 aircraft. It has also got to do with clearing your debts, your liabilities, and winning back the credibility of the lesser. SpiceJet is the only airline that's plagued with lesser litigation and courts that's been going on for the last 7 8 years, and ET has been reporting about it as well. So this clearly is a wait and watch. Everybody's watching SpiceJet, the market, investors, consumers, and I mean, like I said, it's make or break. And now with lesser responsibility and accountability with the promoter, what is the SpiceJet that we're going to see? And will SpiceJet be able to win back that credibility with the lessers? Because let's be honest, 3,000 crores or 4,000 crores is not enough money to buy aircraft off
let
the
me also
market, but
encourage
it's
Mayur.
decent money to
Martin,
lease.
I'll also encourage Mayur to join in here. Mayur, in India, the aviation sector is simple, which is that there is Indigo, which has lion market share. They are profitable and they maintain the market share irrespective of what others have done. Whether it is the entry of Tata's into Air India or Go Air, which was backed by the Vadias. Why is that Indigo gets this entire crown of being a dominant leader, and it's been like this for last couple of years now?
So I think the first and most important factor is getting your supplies right here. I think what they did as a strategy was great when they got their supplies in at a very regular game. So when the other guys were really struggling, Their supplies were coming in, they were very easily. So if you ask me, I never thought that they had initially targeted a 60% plus market share. This has basically happened to them because they've been consistent with their game and the others have lacked the whole game, right? So this is how they've actually gained in the Indian skies.
Okay. So Mayur, how do you see the landscape changing? Jet failed to take off. Akasa is a real deal. SpiceJet has got capital infusion, and Air India has committed to kick in more efficiency. 3 years from now, how do you see the landscape of in the Indian aviation sector changing?
So I think Indian aviation at this point in its is it in its sweetest spot. If you ask me, the pricing war is a thing of the past. We haven't seen any pricing war in the last 2 years, and I don't see that coming in the next 2-3 years as well. I think Tata's as a group will have their own set of challenges to merge the two biggies together. Right, SpiceJet, of course, has raised money, but it is not going to be an easy task. I think it's a tough task ahead, especially if you look at the global supplies of aircrafts. That by itself is a challenge. We've heard a lot of challenges both at Airbus and Boeing. So that actually gives a global crunch. We haven't seen demand coming from Russia and China. So imagine if that those demands start coming in. This is going to be further supply crunch on the aircraft. So clearly, the guys who have their supplies sorted out will be the guys who will be winning the game. Indigo clearly being one of those. Pricing war behind us with crude hovering in that $70-80 range. I think this is the sweetest way of making money. I think this gives in a lot of strong cash flows to Indigo. And I think the other guys as well, they just got to play their game right. I mean, instead of really gunning down each other on market share, possibly get your balance sheet sorted and get your P&L sorted. That's about it.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. But Mayur, Martin, both of you, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining in with those quick thoughts on how the Indian aviation space is going to look like in the years to come.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.